For today's video, we're going to talk about how to multiply mixed numbers. So our learning target is I can multiply mixed numbers. Please write your I know. Again, this is your chance to reflect on what you already know. So we know how to multiply proper fractions. So maybe you could even write that. And today we're moving forward to mixed numbers. Write down the date you're watching this video so you can keep your notes in order. And there is no vocabulary today. So please pause the video here to get caught up on that and restart when you're ready to go. So for multiplying mixed numbers, it's going to be very, very similar to when we were multiplying proper fractions with just one extra step. So starting with an example here, we have 1 3/5 times 1 2/5. And our rule is very simple. We're going to turn the mixed numbers into improper fractions, and then we can multiply just like we did in our last video. So remember that to turn mixed numbers into improper fractions, all we have to do is the denominator times the whole number, add the numerator, that goes on top, and our denominator itself stays the same. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8/5 times, same thing for the other one, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7/5. Then, just like we've been doing, I do the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. So 8 times 7 over 5 times 5 gives me 56/25. Now the last step here is that if this is now an improper fraction, I want to turn it back into a mixed number. Remember that in our last unit we learned how to do this. So I want to know how many times 25 goes into 56. Well, I know 2 times 25 is 50, and that gives me 6 left over. So my answer is 2 and 6/25. Okay? That's easy enough, hopefully. Again, like some of these others, it can get a little more complicated, but the good news is that there's not going to be anything new this time. So let's look at if we were going to do 3 1/3 times 3 1/6. Just like before, the first thing I want to do is turn these into improper fractions. So I do 3 times 3 plus 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10/3 times, all right, turning 3 1/6 into improper. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19/6. All right, I can already see these are kind of big numbers. The good news is that my strategy that we learned in the last method we can use here, which is to simplify first. This method is also called cross simplifying. That's the method that we were doing last time where we looked across and is there anything I can simplify looking at the top and the bottom before I actually multiply so that I'm working with smaller numbers. In this case, I see that 2 goes into both 10 and 6. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the math problem that I'm going to solve now is a little easier. I'll do 5 times 19 on the top and 3 times 3 on the bottom. 5 times 19 is 95. 3 times 3 is 9. Simplifying this, I want to know how many times 9 goes into 95. 9 goes into 9 once. Leaving nothing. 5 comes down. 9 goes into 5 0 times. So here I have the answer 10 5/9. This step here, when I'm writing out the division, if you're able to look and go, okay, I know 9 goes times 10 is 90, and that leaves 5 left over. You don't need to write out that long division step. That's just to help us sort of organize our thinking and make sure we understand what we're doing. Okay? So again, this is exactly the same as the previous ones. I'll do one more example for you. But this is exactly the same as when we were multiplying proper fractions. We just have that extra step first of turning the mixed numbers into improper fractions. And I'll warn you, if you try to not do that, if you try to do it like when we were adding and you just multiply the proper fractions and then you multiply the whole numbers, you're going to get crazy answers. In this case, you would have gotten 9 and 1/18. That's clearly a different answer. So make sure that you are always turning them improper before you try to multiply, because it will not work otherwise. One more example here. We're going to do 1 and 1/10 times 3 and 3/4. Pause the video here, see if you can solve it, and then restart when you're ready. Hopefully you have an answer at this point and you're just coming back to check your work. Okay, 1 and 1/10, when I turn that into an improper fraction, 10 times 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11/10. To turn 3 and 3/4 improper, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15/4. Okay, next thing I want to do is see if I can cross simplify anything. And I see that I have a 10 and a 15 this way. Well, 10 and 15 are both divisible by 5. So I'll do 10 divided by 5, which gives me 2. And I'll do 15 divided by 5, that gives me 3. Now my problem's a little easier. 11 times 3 on the top, 2 times 4 on the 8 on the bottom. 11 times 3 is 33. 2 times 4 is 8. Turn back into a mixed number. 8 goes into 33. Well, 8 times 4 is 32. That leaves me 1 left over. So my answer is 4 and 1/8. As always, feel free to rewatch any parts of this video you need and reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you and have a great day.